Hello. How is everyone this evening? I just wanted to take a few minutes, make a video. I did say that I had planned to go live on Wednesday, but I actually had a few spare moments, so I figured we'd go ahead and tackle that this evening. Hello, Mary. How are you, honey? I am going to take a second and get my video shared really fast. I'm not going to be doing full face makeup today. We're going to be talking about highlighting and contouring, a little bit about what I like to recommend to people. I guess we'll have to do that later because it's not letting me go through with that. Anyhow, the first thing that I wanted to I guess show you guys. I had mentioned that I had got me one of the magnetic palettes. I bought this offline. I did go ahead and put my mark shadows in there. This is the 6 that I currently have. They do make 22 different shades. And as I purchase those, I will add those to this. I'm thinking maybe this was like $5. It did take me a while to get it though. I normally try to buy it within the United States. Somehow I had overlooked that. So this bad boy come from China. But anyhow, I thought that was cool. Nice little thing. You can get these with mirrors in them, different things. So if you're like me and you love the mark shadows, definitely look into this. So we're going to be talking, as I said, about contouring and highlighting. Hi, Rhonda. How are you, honey? The most important thing, hi, Mindy. Y'all say hi as you jump on. Let me know how your evening's going. The first thing that you really want to consider when contouring and highlighting is you want to know your face shape. Everyone's got, different face shape. I believe there's 7 kind of basic different face shapes. So definitely, look into that. A good way that you could tell, of course, would be to look in the mirror. Oval is the most sought after, I guess you would say, face shape. So if you kind of just look in the mirror and imagine an oval on your face, that's kind of going to give you some guidelines to follow as far as, the basic shape of your face and how you would need to contour that. I actually got a dry erase board here with me. It is big, so you might have to bear with me. I'm going to try to get this in here. Here is oval, which my art skills, I guess. That is, like I said, the most sought after. We've got round next to it here. There is square. There is diamond, heart, and then oblong. Now, the thing about oblong is a lot of people may confuse oblong with actually oval. The biggest difference is the length in that. Of course, your forehead and your jawline is going to be about the same width. But with an oblong face, it's going to be longer than an oval face. But, it's definitely, like I said, along the oval. Now, all of these different shapes are based off of the features that are on your face. Diamond, your chin and your forehead is going to be a lot more narrow than what your cheeks are. On a heart-shaped face, your forehead is going to be, of course, the widest thing with a narrow chin. And then, of course, your cheeks are kind of going to be less than what your forehead are. Oval is kind of self-explanatory. Everything's going to kind of be within the guidelines. Round you know, your cheeks, and the center of your face is going to be the widest point. And then square is your forehead and your jawline are going to really kind of take on the corners there, and then it's kind of just going to be straight down on the sides. There's a lot of information online about different face shapes, so if you're confused, you know, about where you fall in that, there's definitely information out there that you can, you know, kind of get more in depth with that and truly figure out what you're, you know, where you fit. Your face shape is definitely going to make the difference when you're contouring. Like I said, it's really going to determine where you're wanting to put the darker shades and the lighter shades. I got some markers here. I was kind of going to go through a little and try to give my opinion of where you would want to contour with your different face shapes. I'm going to use purple for the contour color, and then I'm going to use a yellow for areas that you would highlight. My face is oval, so normally with my face being, you know, a little wider because I am heavier, I tend to kind of just do along the sides of my face, which is because of the width. For someone that is slimmer, you might prefer to do that as well. It's not something that you would necessarily have to do. Hello, how are you? So I'm going to take this here. It is awkward. It is a little backwards for me. So just bear with me here. Hi, Samantha. How are you, honey? Normally, I start kind of here on my forehead and kind of just go down along the edges on both sides. And the reason, as I mentioned, is because my face is on the wider side. For someone that wasn't, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that. But that's normally where I like to keep my highlight. Now, normally, or my contour, I'm sorry. Normally, under my jawline, I do kind of like to add some in that area because of my face being a little chubbier. So as you can see, it doesn't really take away from the shape. It kind of just accentuates that. But like I said, for the, you know, for being on the heavier side, I think those are good areas to kind of camouflage. I'm going to move over to the rounded one. You kind of want to imagine an oval. So I'm going to try to draw an oval over top of this, which would be kind of something like this. That's not really an oval. Kind of something like this. So that would show you where you would want to put your contour kind of along the edges here to kind of get that shape of an oval in there. When you're dealing with contour, it's going to kind of push that area to the back. So wherever you're putting your dark, it's going to shrink it. It's going to minimize it. It's going to kind of push it to the background. So anything on your face that you're wanting to hide, you're wanting to, you know, camouflage, everyone's got something about their face. When they look in the mirror, you know, maybe they're going to say, my nose is too big, or, you know, my jaw's a little bigger, or my jawline's square, different points on their face. Their forehead is wide, their forehead is tall. So that's going to give you a basic of where you're going to want to start. Figuring out your face shape and the right areas to apply that is going to really help you figure out the way you need to do that. Next would be square. I'm going to put the oval in there. As you can see, a square face is a little harder because you've got these points here at your forehead and at your jawline that you're really going to want to focus on. So if you imagine a oval over top of your face, you're really going to want to concentrate your contour on those areas. And as you can see here, as I fill this in, it's going to kind of camouflage this square face into the shape of an oval. And ultimately, when you're doing, you know, your face shape, That's what the point of it is. You want to kind of buffer the edges out with your contour to give the illusion that your face is oval. Or maybe not oval. Maybe you prefer a different look. Maybe you prefer a heart shape. The same principle applies to that. If you imagine that shape on your face and then put your dark in the areas that you're wanting to hide, and the highlight would go in spots that you're wanting to accentuate. So the diamond here is the same thing, which a diamond face, the oval is kind of more like this. So as you can see, you're missing points here. You're missing points that you're going to want to accentuate. Of course, this would be your hair, you know, in here. And then you can't add to what you don't have. So normally on a face shape like this, you're going to really want to concentrate your dark in this area. You kind of take these points out. Like this. So instead of the oval being on the edge of your face, the edge of your diamond, you're going to want to kind of create that oval. I'm going to try to do this without murdering it. You're going to want the oval to be within your face. So you're going to want, let me take this out. You're going to want to accentuate the center of your face. So you're going to want to take the dark and put it on the edges, the corners. This would be your forehead, your cheeks, and then your chin. To where you could get that oval within the shape, if that makes sense. A heart face would kind of be the same thing, because down here, obviously, if you imagine kind of an oval on this, I'm sorry about this drawing, guys. You're going to want to do the same thing. So obviously you would darken on your forehead. Now these shapes, guys, obviously people's face aren't exactly shaped this way. But you can kind of get a good idea of what's going on with that. Down here at the bottom where your face would be lacking, you would want to highlight in these areas to kind of bring some light to them, which would be kind of along your jawline on each side, in order to get that oval appearance within. I guess you could take it a step further. If I had a bigger heart, this would be easier. Hold on a second. I'm going to draw a bigger heart just so you guys can kind of get a better idea. Okay. So there's a bigger heart. And you see that I had already put the oval in there. If you wanted to take it a step further, you could go this route. Which that's a lot to color in, but you can see what I'm doing here, kind of along with the diamond. You can take the oval in the center of your face, and kind of everything outside of that is where you're going to want to contour, to kind of give the illusion of that oval. Now, the last one is the oblong, which is very similar, like I mentioned, to the oval. The main points on this would be, of course, the top, and the bottom. You would want to kind of chisel out some of the length that your face is. So you would want to add your contour along the bottom here and along the top as well, to kind of give you a shortening of sorts. Contour is definitely one of them things that you've got to play with. You kind of got to get the products, see what they are, how they work for you. There's two basic consistencies when it comes to contour and highlighting, and that would be a powder form and a cream form. Cream is really good for a dewy look. It's really amazing for ladies with drier skin. So the summertime too, it's really nice to have the cream versions of contour, highlight, blush, things like that. It's going to prevent you from looking chalky, you know, cakey, powdery, stuff like that in the summertime. But it's definitely important to kind of play with things, you know, see how they work for you. The most important thing would be blending. As long as you're blending the edges of things, you should be good to go. And it's best to start out kind of light, you know, applying a small amount and then kind of building on that, especially if you're new to the whole thing. You'll probably have better results that way. Now next, hi Donna, how are you? Next, I'm going to move on to the yellow, which is going to be our highlighter. And what you're going to want to do with that is to apply your highlighter. Normally, you don't want to put around the edge of your face. There is certain situations that you would want to do that. Highlight's going to draw light. So the same way that contour shrinks and closes things off, highlight's going to do the opposite. Highlight's going to brighten, draw light, draw attention. So anything that you're wanting to really accentuate, you're going to want to put your highlighter in that area or on that thing. Oval, like I said, is kind of the most sought after. Like I said, there's not really a need for a highlighter anywhere around the outside edge of your face. Round kind of is the same thing. Being that you're hiding the majority of the edge. I don't really know that you would want to highlight anything, you know, within that. Square would be the same thing. With this face shape, you really are kind of going all the way around. So that's something that you're camouflaging. You're not wanting to draw to. Diamond is one that you may consider if you've got a diamond face shape. Places that you're not putting the contour, which would be on the corners. Like this would be kind of along your jawline. You may want to go in there and put some highlighter just to kind of bring the light to that and help build to the shape of the oval that you're creating. The same as in here. If you went through there and added some highlighter in between, it will kind of open that up and kind of give it more with the dark and the highlight in between. You're adding to what you're lacking and you're taking away from what you've got too much of. A heart shape would be the same thing in the areas that you're kind of lacking. The highlight will kind of build that up for you. Like I said, these shapes are kind of the cartoon version of everything, but you can kind of get the point that I'm trying to make. Oval it would definitely be the same thing. You've got the dark at the top and the bottom. So I guess if your face was really, really thin, you might add some on the edges here just to kind of build it out a little and get that perfect oval that you're really looking for. Okay, so I'm going to set this down for now. And I want to talk a little bit about the inside of your face. Now, we kind of covered, hello, hey, 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 heart could highlight along the chin. Yes, definitely right in the area. I kind of think of contour and highlight in almost like the positive and the negative. Areas of your face where you're kind of over-exaggerated to the positive, you know, areas that you're bigger or wider, areas that, you know, you want to take away from, you're wanting to put your dark. Areas that you're already kind of slim on, areas that you're wanting to add to, you want to put your highlight. So now the inside of your face, the different features that you have, the contouring is kind of a more personal thing. Hello, guys. How are you? Hi, Kimberly. Hi, Brittany. Your features. And like I mentioned earlier, we're our own worst critics. So everyone's got that, little thought in the back of their mind, my nose is huge, or I hate that my lips are so thin, or, I wish my eyes were bigger. Everyone's kind of got those things, personal things that they think, they wish they could change. So that's where you're going to want to base your contour and highlight in your, in the middle of your face, your features. For things that you think are too big, contour those, and like I said, as long as you're blending your edges, you should be good to go. Areas that you wish were bigger, areas that you wish, you want to kind of highlight or show off the things that you're the most proud of, or you think are, your pretty features. Those are the areas that you're going to want to contour. I do got some brushes here that I wanted to take a second and show you guys. When you're doing a contour, you're going to want a contour brush. Now, these things come in all shapes, different sizes. Normally, they are, a thinner brush. It's kind of like a fan almost. The bristles are short. That's going to kind of keep your product from smearing too far from the spot that you're trying to put it. So brushes are definitely important, especially when it comes to contouring. This is a powder brush. If I would use this for contour, it's so big, it's not going to give me that line that I'm looking for. So it's really important to make sure you're using the right kind of brush when you're doing that. A highlight brush is normally a smaller, as you can see here, it's kind of got a point to it. The bristles are longer and they're softer. So it's going to help you get a smoother application. It's going to help you get a more even application. I did get a blush brush. Normally those are angled, and there is a reason for that. When you're applying your blush kind of against your face, you can see that the longer hairs kind of make up for the rounded of your face. So there is a reason that brushes are made the way they are. It's important that you've got good quality brushes. It's going to make a huge difference when you are applying the products. So I'm going to grab my bronzer here, and I'm going to show you guys the way that I like to do, my face when it comes to contouring. Normally, a good kind of rule of thumb for anyone would be cheekbones, which your cheekbone is kind of here. So you're going to want to put the contour underneath that. And the reason is kind of in the center of your face. You're wanting your contour to look kind of like a shadow. So you're not going to want to put it, right on the apple of your cheek. It's not going to look natural. It's not going to blend very well if you do that. So you're kind of wanting it to appear that your cheekbone is casting a shadow. So you're going to want your contour kind of right underneath your cheek, but on the top of your jawline, if that makes sense. So you can kind of imagine where you would put that. Now, a lot of people kind of have a hollowed area right here, which, like I said, my face is a little, chubby. My cheeks are puffy, so I don't have that kind of natural area that is hollowed there that I would put this contour on. So that's why I am applying it to create that area. So I like to kind of start from your hairline here, which is kind of the corner of your cheekbone. And you're going to want to just go right underneath, which would be kind of right in here. Now, you're going to want to kind of make a rounded around your cheekbone. So it's going to kind of sit right under your cheekbone, aiming towards the corner of your mouth. So this is kind of where you're going to want to apply this. If you're someone that has an extremely thinner face, you've already kind of got that hollowed area. Maybe you've got really high cheekbones. You may not need to do this to accentuate, if you're lucky. If you're lucky and you don't have that round face problem. Okay, so you can see there, if I did have a hollowed, cheekbone area, that's where it would be. It's kind of the bottom of my cheek versus the top of my jaw, if that makes sense. You want to do it on the underside of your cheek. So I'm going to go ahead and do this side while I'm here. Now, I will say you kind of want to be cautious, not to go too far to the corner of your mouth. So that's something that you're going to kind of have to play with, depending on how wide, the area is. You could go further, or, you might want to stay back further. Hi, Jessie. How are you, honey? We're talking contour. So you can see there where I applied that. Okay, so now, being that my face is oval, which you can see, this is an oval. And even here, you can see what is outside of that oval. And that's where I normally put the contour along the edges of my face to kind of accentuate that true oval. Now, my nose would be one of the things that I don't care for when you're contouring, your nose or your chin or your lips or something like that. You definitely want to use a smaller brush. You can use the contour brush, but it's not going to be as precise and detailed. I like to use something like this, which is called like a smudger brush. Normally, I kind of just go down the natural shape of my nose, which would be right here, which I've got a lot of nose. I really do have a lot of nose. So for someone that's already got a thinner nose, you might not have to worry. You might not want to worry about contouring that. So I'm just going to kind of do the same on this side. Now I could stop there, which it's definitely going to thin my nose. But being that my nose is, kind of on the bigger side, I kind of like to do the side here as well. Now there's a couple different ways that I could do this. I could kind of just color it all in like I am on this side, which is kind of just going to, as you can see there, it kind of just hides it. Just kind of hides the whole side of my nose, which I like that because my nose is big. Your nostril here, I've seen a lot of girls kind of go down to it and even kind of behind it. And then they'll go in with a highlight right on their nostril to kind of give it that pushed back look. You could put some highlight right there to kind of make it pop along with the bridge of your nose. I personally don't like the width between my eyebrows. So I even take my contour up in that area. Just kind of shadow it out a little. And you can see there versus this side, the dark kind of just pushes it back. So it's not as, up front and in your face. Hides it, shrinks it. I'm going to go ahead and do this side as well. I'll kind of go a little under there. I got a really high ridge right there. So I'm kind of going to do it as well. Now you really want to be sure that you've got the right color when it comes to contouring. My skin is very pale, so I don't need anything really dark. This is our bronzing powder. It's the Warm Glow, which I personally think it is perfect for my skin tone and my skin color. Okay, so I've got that done. Another thing would be my chin. My chin is kind of flat. As you can see, there's not really much, you know, of a chin. So you could go in there, kind of create a little circle, half circle here. You could also work it with the highlighter. I normally put a little highlighter right in the center of my chin, which kind of brings it out to exaggerate, you know, that it's sticking out. Your eyes would be another thing that you could play with contour on. Using different colors of eyeshadows is really helpful when it comes to that. If you've got problems under your eyes with, you know, wrinkles and, you know, things like that, maybe puffiness, you can take your bronzer or even like a kind of a medium tone brown eyeshadow and just kind of put that underneath your lash line, under your eye. It's going to kind of hide the wrinkles. It's going to kind of, you can see what it did. You can see the difference. So, you know, contour is one of them things, like I said, you got to play with. You got to first know what face shape you've got, you know, and how to kind of start. Once you get the basic idea of where you're supposed to apply it, it's really all in the blending. I'm going to go ahead and do the edge of my face because I haven't. You want to make sure as you're doing, you know, the sides of your face to really get that face shape in there. You're going to want to make sure that you're blending it back into your hairline just to prevent, you know, any drastic makeup lines. It's kind of like a foundation, foundation line down here along your chin. I do like to do behind my ear pretty well just to kind of make sure it's not black and white, the contrast that you don't want. When I am doing along my jawline here, as you can see, I've kind of got the brush right on the edge. I'm not under and I'm not above. I'm kind of right on that edge. And that's going to, like I said, help cast that shadow. You can kind of already see versus this side where that dark is along the lines of that oval shape. I've kind of got everything that would be outside of that oval dark. And that's going to push it back, make it look less. I think it is really fun to play with stuff like this. There was a time that I was really scared. I don't know, something about putting such dark colors actually on your face is a little intimidating. It really is. I think contour is probably one of the things that I get questions and concerns and stuff about the most. And it's really, truly about knowing yourself, knowing your face shape. I've got glitter all over my face. Knowing what you're working with, what you're starting from, and what goal that you're trying to get to. Like I said, oval is the most popular, kind of the most sought after. I believe in the, you know, media, society wants to make people believe that there's such thing as perfect. I don't believe that there's there is such a thing as perfect. I personally think a heart-shaped face is beautiful, feminine, but like I said, everyone's kind of got their own likes and dislikes. I wanted to show you guys this. This is Avon's new Contour and Highlight Duo. It is the cream version, and this thing is, like I said, it's amazing for ladies with dry skin. It's also really nice to really kind of chisel. If there's anything that you're really wanting to, put an emphasis on, this is going to do that for you. I did put it here, my bronzer, but I like to go in with this and kind of add that little extra. When you're dealing with contour and highlight, it's all about creating a dimension. You want the dark against the light, to create that kind of opposing. And that's what's going to get you a good outcome overall. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to do this side the different way that we talked. And I'm going to do this one what I normally do. And I want to show you guys the difference that creates. So I'm going to work a second here on my cheekbones and kind of get that blended out. And then we'll move on to our nose. I've seen ladies that have really beautiful cheekbones that will take their bronzer and kind of just dust it here a little bit. And it's beautiful. It's perfect. It's what they need, They've got thin faces. They've got high cheekbones. They've got that hollowed area. So they really don't need to put a lot of attention on that. So it just kind of goes to show you that everyone's working with different things. And you kind of got to play with it. You got to play and see what works best. You can see how that really kind of just chiseled that out. Just added that little bit of extra. Okay. Now with what I got, I'm kind of just going to go over this a little where we put the bronzer. And the same here. I'm going to take the extra and kind of do under my nostrils. And I'm going to put a little here. My video tapped off. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so now I'm going to move over to my brush. And the reason is because I want to show you guys the difference here between the two sides and what we did. Kind of just going to blend this out. Now, I'm going to move over to the highlighter side. And I'm going to put some down the center because I'm wanting to accentuate that thin line that we've created with the contour on both sides. I'm going to put a little here. What a big-eyed glitter look soon. Love it when you use the glitters. Yeah, I do too. I love it when I do, the makeup and the big glitter and all that. I get so many questions about things like this. So I think it's important to kind of focus on that occasionally. So there, I put it on the nostril on this side just to kind of show you guys the difference between the two sides. Now, I normally don't put the contour or the highlighter here. I'm sorry, because normally I've got my concealer under my eyes, and the shade that I got of that kind of serves as this purpose as well. So there's really no need to go over top of that concealer with the cream highlighter. Nice to show and explain. Yeah, it is. Well, and when I started these videos a little over a month ago, that's the purpose that I had in mind. I wanted to really explain to people and show them you know, that you don't have to spend a lot of money on expensive products to get a good look, a good outcome. You know, I wanted to prove to them that if you had a little know-how and a good, decent product, that you could really get any look that you wanted. So it's kind of humbling to, you know, stick to them original goals, I guess, and be reminded of that every once in a while. But yeah, the makeup, the eyeshadows, the glitters, that's the fun part. But sometimes it's nice to kind of step back and, you know, explain a little to people. Okay, so you can see already on my nose. This side, it's kind of all just shadowed. It all just kind of blends in. There's no, you know, I mean, which it's there. My nose is still there. But you can see kind of on a, you know, a walk by glance, it really kind of just hides it. It's, you know, it's shadowed. It's, you know, it's out of there. Now this side, you can see, you know, my nostril. For someone with a smaller, kind of pudgier, you know, maybe flatter nose, something like this might be perfect for you. I don't know that I like it. My nostril highlighted like that, but I just wanted to do that to show you guys it's not scary. You know, it's something you play with. Everyone's shapes of faces and noses and eyes and all that is different. So you kind of got to know where you're starting, what face shape, and where you're ending. What goals you got in mind? What do you want to accentuate? What are you wanting to show off? What are you wanting to hide? And that's going to give you your answers of where you need to apply the contour and the highlighter. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that big nostril. It's a little funny, I think. But you can see the dark. That I put the dark in here. And then I put the highlighter actually on my nostril. And it's so funny. Okay, anyway, I got the highlighter here. We did down the center of our nose. Another area that is beautiful for a highlighter would be under your brow, which I've got my champagne on there already. So that's where you would put it. You could do the corner of your eyes with the highlighter, kind of open them, make them pop. The highlighter is kind of like a white liner. You know, your waterline, if you put a white liner, you know, it really opens and makes them pop. It's kind of the same principle behind a highlighter. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about blush. Blush is one of those things that is beautiful on everyone. Let me find a blush really fast. Okay, I've got this one here. It's Antique Rose. It's kind of got a little bit of a coral, kind of peachy pink. Now, when you're putting blush on your cheeks, especially if you do got your contour on there, you kind of already got your highlighter. The space kind of in between. Kind of sit it right on top of that contour. So this area right in here is where you're going to want your blush to go. Your blush and your contour on your cheeks here are kind of going to work together. You almost kind of want them to be together. You're not going to want no gaps between your contour and your blush. Like I said, blush is one of those things that's beautiful on everyone. Everyone's got cheeks. Blush normally has some shimmers, some iridescence, stuff like that in there. So they really do look good on everyone. Days that I'm in a hurry and I don't have time or don't feel like contouring, I'll take my blush and kind of put some on my forehead, maybe down my nose, on my chin, on the apple of the cheek, the roundest part. That's right. If you smile, the roundest part of your cheek is where you're going to want that blush. Now with my contour being here, a lot of the times I'll kind of put my blush up in here just to kind of transition that, I guess you would say. These freaking, I don't know why my head has not been made for a headband or anything of that sorts. I can never keep them on my head. They're always slipping back. Okay, so I went ahead and just dabbed a little in there. But anyway, on days that I'm in a hurry and I don't contour and all this every day, this is for you guys. Kind of pass along what I like, or, you know, what I've learned. I will take my blush, you know, maybe here, down the center. And the reason that I do that is because just wearing foundation is fine. You know, it's going to cover everything that you're trying to cover. But it kind of gives you this unrealistic, you know, whited out look. And going in with a blush or something like that and kind of adding some color around, it's just going to help it look more natural, not so kind of whited out. And you know what I'm saying. So to look more natural, I guess, would be my explanation of why I do that. Now next, I'm going to show you guys my highlighter, which this is the Moonlit Highlighting Powder by Avon. This one is called Quartz. There is 2 shades. The other is slightly darker. I personally think highlighter is supposed to just add shimmer. You're not really wanting it to add any color, especially if you've got blush. There's no need for that. So I recommend that you pick what's closest to your skin tone. You know, if you're darker skin, you might need the darker one. For me, being that I am pale, I picked the lighter one. Now, where I put my highlighter stick is where I'm going to put this highlighting powder. And it's really going to just add shimmer. Hello, Anissa. How are you? I'm going to put it kind of right on my cheekbones. I like to put a little above here as well. Just to kind of, I don't know, I feel like it makes it blend a little better. That's one of the most important things to me personally, is I like a blended look. I don't like things to have lines or edges or be separated. I don't like to see the start and the finish. So I'm just going to work this everywhere I've got the highlighter stick. Which the highlighter stick, I used porcelain foundation. Made me look like clown face. So white, the whole face. Hi, Carrie. Cleaning, cooking dinner, and cleaning house. Yes, I know all about that. Sometimes it's nice to get a little break from that every once in a while. I did use this in the last video. I personally feel that the highlighter end of this would be more comparable to a concealer versus an actual highlighter, only because there is no shimmer. It is not translucent. It all in all seems to me, I would compare it more to a concealer, which it is the perfect base for your highlighter. You're going to want that underneath to really give the shimmer, to get the most out of it. You know, if you put it on a face that is dark, you know, it's going to take away from it. When you're doing highlighting, and you're going to want a good, clean, light base. And this is perfect for that. I would use this for concealer. So just so you guys know what you're getting into, you know, how the products work. Now, I do not have no face makeup on. I didn't even put powder over any of my contour. We kind of jumped around a little bit today with the video. But like I said, I get a lot of questions about this. So I wanted to take a minute and try to go a little more in depth and details and explain to you guys kind of where I start my bases off of things. I'm trying to think here. If anybody needs any books or would like to, sample something to try it out, get a hold of me. I also wanted to mention that this current campaign, pretty well all of our skincare regimens and, targeted creams and whatnot are on sale. I think it's perfect this time of year. It's really nice to kind of overhaul your skincare regimen. So if you need that, if you want to look into, what's best for you, you can go online to youravon.com/triedandtrue. There's a quiz on there that you can take and put all your information in, and it will actually recommend something kind of custom fit for you. When you're doing skincare, it's important to remember, always start out with a clean face, even if you're just applying your night creams and day creams, stuff like that. And you also want to apply the thinner products first. So, if you've got several things you're putting on at a time, the thinner in consistency would be first. And then you want to work it up to the thicker stuff. At nighttime, it's really nice to have a thicker, tackier product. It makes me kind of confident that it's doing something. So, I put it all on there, and when I wake up the next morning, it feels amazing. It's got all night to soak up all those ingredients and get extremely hydrated. So, those are just a couple things I wanted to mention. I appreciate y'all watching. I hope you have a good evening. Let me see, today's Tuesday, maybe Thursday. I might try to go live again. So if y'all are free, definitely, look me up. If you tap my nose and make sure you're following me, just so you can get updated and alerted when I am making posts or going live. I think that's it for this evening. Thank you, ladies. I want to remind you that pretty is as pretty does. So stay pretty.